Anything you hear, anything you see, or anything you're thinking, you should be comparing it to God's word, the Bible, right here, God's word. And so, yeah, there's a verse in the Bible, right, that says that you should take every thought captive and make it obedient to Christ. Oh, I'm thinking about stealing? Okay. What does God's word say about that? Well, one of the 10 commandments is, thou shalt not steal. Okay. So I'm thinking about stealing, but God's word says it's wrong, so I'm not going to do it. See, I made that thought be obedient to Christ. It's the same thing for everything else. Everything we see, everything we hear, everything we allow into our lives, we need to compare it to God's word. We shouldn't just believe it just because a pastor said it or a Christian said it or anyone said it for that matter. Oh, I said that God is love. Where's that in the Bible? Oh, God's love is unconditional. Where's that in the Bible? Anything and everything, we need to compare it to God's word. And I believe this is a huge problem for some Christians because some Christians will just go and receive everything a pastor says just because he says he's a pastor and a Christian. I believe that's wrong because there are a lot of people out there that say they're pastors and say they're Christians, but they're really not. But we wouldn't know that because we are not comparing what they're saying to God's word. So we're just receiving all these lies instead of taking what they're saying and comparing it to God's word. Don't take my word for it. Don't take anyone's word for it. Take God's word for it. Go to God's word and see and take his word for it. Just because I say or any other Christian or anyone else says it doesn't make it true. It's true because it comes from God's word. And so you need to make sure that you are not just believing anything or anyone just because they say they're a Christian, just because they say they're a pastor, just because they say this or that. Compare it to God's word. Anything and everything, compare it to God's word. And then you will know if it's true or not. Because God's word is 100% truth, right? Words are not. Our words, our human words, may not always be true. So that's why you take everything you hear and see and compare it to God's word. Because God's word is always true and will never fail. But we humans, we will fail and we will mess up. And so everything you see, everything you let into your life, compare it to God's word. Don't just choose to believe the lies. Don't just choose to believe it just because. Compare it to God's word.